So, in the last video I just sent out last week, I talked about the doom and gloom of getting your music into TV and film, right? Being a needle in a haystack, floating on an ocean of music, millions of tracks out there, you're playing a lottery. How are you supposed to even get your music into a show, movie, or ad when there's all of these tracks available, all of these musicians who are trying? They're either on libraries, these massive rosters on libraries, or in agencies, or on platforms trying to get briefs, and you're just this essentially a number, right? A track number, and it all comes down to chance. And then I suggested relationships, right? That's what we do at Songwriter. It's all about relationships. Now, I thought I should explain this because some of you might be thinking, relationships, Chris, you must mean like nepotism or something, or like, I gotta like be a good at the schmooze, right? I gotta like sort of be able to get a hold of people just randomly, and then develop these personal relationships, and we'll be talking about our cats together and things like that. That couldn't be further from the truth. That's not what I'm talking about. Think about it this way. There's an old saying that your fate, or wherever you end up, your lot in life, is going to be dictated by the 5 people you hang out with most. Now, that's, of course, just a saying. But what it means is that when you are within a certain orbit or a certain scope, you're within a certain community of people, and, in this case, it's reduced down to 5, it's whatever their income level is, that's probably going to be your income level. Whatever their opportunities are, those are probably going to be your opportunities. And it's amazing how well that tracks. The reason for this is that if you think about people who have achieved great things, succeeded, right? And let's just pick, money, that's a big one, right? Everyone talks about having, who's got more money and who's got less money. The people who have a lot of money, some of them, of course, got it through nefarious ways, and some got lucky and did actually win a lottery. But by far, the vast majority of them got their money from being at the right place at the right time, or being around the right people, or having the right opportunities. They went to school at certain places. They learned how to do what it was that they wanted to do with the money, or they learned online, whatever it was. They learned how to do it, and they got good at it. And then they worked really hard to refine that. And then they were around the same people who were doing the same kinds of things. They became friends with them. Not, didn't have to be super close friendships, but they were in that community. They were in that circle. Let's take famous actors. Famous actors aren't just born actors in a bubble and then end up just becoming famous, right? They, of course, might be talented, but they typically learn how to act somewhere. And then when they're there, they might have worked under some sort of teacher who had some connections and got them into their first big play. Maybe they got onto Broadway because the teacher invited somebody they knew to watch an audition, and that happened. Then within, let's say it's a Hollywood movie for fun, they're basically got an agent, right, based on their talents. And then they go and they meet the showrunners, and they go to dinner and things like that. They're not forming these like deep friendships where if you get me the part, man, I'll never, forget this and blah, blah, blah. It's all about just being around the right people. It's the same thing with great athletes as well. Great athletes aren't just born. Great athletes were trained under great people. They were in a community where they could practice against the best people. They had the right infrastructure by being there to get funding or a scholarship or whatever that was. All of those things came from relationships, but they weren't necessarily these like super, super tight, friends sharing all their secrets together. And it wasn't nepotism. It was just being within a group, just like those 5 people that I talked about earlier, that were able to move them to where they wanted to go eventually, right? With a lot of work and all of that good stuff. It's the same thing in sync licensing. When I talk about going and building relationships, I'm not talking about you got to go out and become friends with all of these people, and then hopefully when you're friends, then they'll think about placing your song. No, it's about giving them what they need, helping them do their job. And in order to do that, you need to get your music in front of them. In order to do that, you need to meet them or be within the right community or right circle, just like the other examples I just gave. And that is the key. You're rubbing shoulders with the people who are going to make things happen for you. Well, you're helping them too, right? It's not just a selfish thing for you. You are a part of the equation, right? Because you're valuable to them. They're not just doing you a favor. You have the music that they want. So this is really what the secret is. And if you reverse engineer this idea, the tragedy is why the vast majority of all music and all musicians and songwriters will not succeed with their music, will not get their music into TV and film, is because they're isolated. They don't have those relationships. They don't have the connection. That could even be a better word. They don't have the right connection to make that happen for them, and they never will because they don't put themselves into the opportunity of forming those. They don't get into a community or, get through a door that says like, hey, now I'm hanging with the cool people and I can make things happen here because that's what they're looking for. And again, it's not because you moved up the ladder. It's just you got connected with people who are looking for what you do. So when I talk about forming relationships, just that's exactly what it is. It's connecting you with the right people in TV and film who can make your music happen for you. And that's what it is. I'm very curious to hear what you think about this take on relationships. Leave me a comment below. I read every single one. I respond to them all. And I'll see you there.